It wasn't the kind of town you moved to. It was the kind you were born in, and if you were lucky, you left. I ended up back in my hometown of Oak Haven after a corporate merger vaporized my job. My great-aunt Agatha had passed, leaving me her small, musty house on the edge of the town square, and it was cheaper than paying rent anywhere else. The town had one peculiar rule, one everyone followed without question. The old church bell in the square, a relic from a time when people actually attended services, tolled every midnight, just once. A single sonorous bong that rolled through the silent streets. And when it tolled, you were not to look outside your window. Mrs. Gable, the elderly neighbor who brought me a welcome casserole, told me this on my first day. Her kind eyes turned serious. "It's for the night steward, dear," she said, as if that explained everything. "He makes his rounds. It's just impolite to watch." I laughed it off. A quaint small-town superstition, probably started to keep kids from sneaking out. I forgot about it entirely until my first midnight in the house. I was unpacking a box of books, my back aching, when the clock on the mantelpiece chimed 12. A second later, the deep, shivering note of the church bell echoed through the valley. It was a lonely, hollow sound that seemed to vibrate in my bones. My curiosity itched. The night steward? What a silly name. I was a grown man, a rationalist. I walked to the large bay window that looked out onto the square. The moon was full, bathing the empty streets in a pale blue light. Nothing moved. The swings in the playground were still. The flag on the post office hung limp. It was just a quiet, sleeping town. Then I saw him. He was tall and impossibly thin, dressed in a long, dark coat that seemed to drink the moonlight. He wasn't walking so much as gliding, his movement utterly silent and fluid. He stopped in the exact center of the square, and though he was far away, I felt a jolt in my chest as his head slowly turned, scanning the surrounding houses. He was looking for something, or someone. A cold dread, primal and immediate, locked my joints. I wasn't scared of a man in a coat. I was scared of the wrongness of him, the unnatural proportions, the absolute silence, the way the shadows around him seemed thicker, more solid. My rational mind shattered. This was no superstition. This was a warning. His head stopped moving. It was facing my direction. I dropped to the floor, my heart hammering against the old floorboards. I didn't dare breathe. I lay there in the dust, listening to the frantic thumping in my ears, until I heard the faint, melodic jingle of what sounded like small brass bells fading into the distance. Only then did I crawl to my bed, where I spent the rest of the night shivering under the covers. The next morning, the sun was out, birds were chirping. It felt like a dream, a stress-induced hallucination. But when I went to get the mail, Mrs. Gable was watering her roses. She didn't look at me, but her voice was soft and firm. "You looked, didn't you, Leo?" I couldn't lie. I just nodded, my throat tight. She sighed, a sound of profound weariness. "He knows your face now. Once you're on his ledger, you're always on his ledger. Just be inside at midnight, always." Life in Oak Haven became a prison of time. I arranged my entire life around the toll of that bell. I declined late dinners, left parties early, and felt a spike of panic if I was even 5 minutes from my front door at 11:55 p.m. The fear was a constant, low hum in the background of my life. I saw him, the steward, every few weeks on his rounds. I'd peek through a slit in the curtains, my blood running cold, and see him standing in the square, his head tilted, as if listening for a heartbeat out of rhythm. He never came for me, not for a year. Tonight, I was careless. I was on a video call with friends from my old life, laughing, feeling almost normal. I lost track of time. The first chime of the mantel clock struck, and my blood froze. No. I was in the kitchen. My phone read 11:59. I had 60 seconds. I sprinted for the front door, my socks slipping on the hardwood. I fumbled with the deadbolt, my hands shaking uncontrollably. The 12th chime rang out, and then the bell tolled. Bong! The sound was different this time. It wasn't hollow, it was final. It was a sound that closed a case. I got the door locked and scrambled away from it, pressing my back against the stairs. The house was silent. Too silent. The fridge had stopped humming. The old pipes had stilled. The only sound was the ragged saw of my own breath. Then, I heard it. A soft, deliberate footstep on my front porch. Not a scrape, not a thud. A gentle pressure, like a weight being carefully set down. Another. He was here. The doorknob began to turn. Slowly, silently. The deadbolt held. I watched the brass knob rotate left, then right, as if testing its strength. Then it stopped. A long silence followed. I dared to hope. Maybe he couldn't get in. Maybe the lock would hold. A new sound began. A faint, metallic scratching at the lock. It was the sound of a key searching for a keyhole, but it was wrong. It was the sound of something thin and probing, like a long, polished fingernail exploring the mechanism from the outside. Scritch, scritch, tink. The deadbolt slid back with a soft, definitive clunk. The door didn't swing open. It drifted inward, and the smell of cold, wet stone and old earth washed into my house. The thin, dark figure filled the doorway, his face hidden in shadow. But I could feel his gaze on me, the same gaze I had met a year ago from my window. He took a silent step inside. The rules had been broken, the toll had been paid, and now the steward was here.